Babbity Rabbity was a very naughty little newt. She was so naughty that she would steal school supplies from other students. In fact, one day she stole 7 pencils, 9 water bottles, and 3 whole crayons. Not the broken ones that no one wants, mind you, but 3 whole, brand new crayons in violet, poppy, and macaroni and cheese. But as her hand was slipping the last orangey crayon into the pocket of her jumper, her teacher, Mrs. Fikkity-Rikkity, stormed in and exclaimed, "Babbity Rabbity, that is quite enough from you. As punishment, you must go into the wood behind our schoolhouse and follow the path until you can't see the red of our roof any more. You must then collect 17 green-spotted mushrooms before nightfall and bring them back here, or else you'll be kicked out of school." Babbity Rabbity was aghast, and all the time that she'd been at school, 4 whole months, no one had ever been kicked out before. In a panicked rush, she emptied her pockets of the things she had stolen, gathered her coat and scarf and mittens, for it was very cold outside, and scampered out the door. Babbity Rabbity rushed down the path into the woods, blinking back the tears that Mrs. Fikkity-Rikkity had caused by yelling at her, when suddenly she tripped over a long root. The root, horribly offended, slithered back to its mother stump in a huff. The mother stump, a moss-covered, silver-tongued wench of a stump, roused by her baby root's complaints, dusted herself off, rose up onto her strongest roots, and waddled imperiously into Babbity Rabbity's path. Terrified, Babbity Rabbity quickly tried to apologize. Excuse me, I didn't see you there," she stammered. But the stump just smiled, in that odd way that stumps smile, and said, "Little newt, why have you so disturbed my aching roots? I was quite content to sit in my little corner of the wood and contemplate my lost youth, but then all of a sudden you trampled over my best thinking root." She trailed off, staring vacantly through Babbity Rabbity, and then all of a sudden began to laugh, a slimy, choking cackle that made her seem so much larger and more monstrous than she had before, and a shiver crept up Babbity Rabbity's spine. Meekly, Babbity Rabbity said, barely above a whisper, "Excuse me, may I please cross this path?" But the stump just stared and said, "Why so frightened, little dearie? It's not like you haven't seen a cackling stump before." She said this with such certainty that it was all Babbity Rabbity could do to just nod accommodatingly. And then the stump did something the reptile did not expect at all. She tilted to one side, allowing a tiny root to grow, trembling out into the sunlight. This little root reached out and wrapped itself around Babbity Rabbity's front foot, and with a gentle squeeze, started leading her into the wood. "So, my child, what has brought you into this dark wood?" the stump whispered sweetly. "Well, I got in trouble for stealing at school." "Stealing?" said the stump. "Stealing, my child, is a very naughty thing indeed." "Oh, yes, I know that now. But I have to gather 17 green-spotted mushrooms and take them back to the schoolhouse before nightfall, or my teacher will kick me out of school. That's my punishment. I was very naughty." The little newt hung her head in shame. The stump's face lit up in a wooden grin, and she cackled again. "Well then, dearie, you're in luck. The grove of green-spotted mushrooms is just over this hill." And with that, Babbity slowly and cautiously walked up the hill with the cackling stump's root in hand, making her way over to the grove of the green-spotted mushroom, when suddenly a small green figure trumped out of the underbrush, carrying a wooden ruler and wearing a tattered pea-green military cap. The troll, for that is what it was, marched directly into their path, drew a big breath to speak, and trumpeted, "This is my forest! You are not allowed!" "No," the stump hummed. "This is a wood, and I'm afraid it is not in your possession." The stump tried to continue with Babbity down the path, but the troll grabbed the little newt by the shoulder, stared directly in her face, and bellowed, "You shall not pass!" Babbity jumped, frightened at the little green man, but her fear was quickly replaced by anger. This disagreeable creature was preventing her from completing her task, and for no good reason at all. So with all the force she could muster, she stomped on the tiny green troll's foot,